Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, Make Hijrah fans, to our first episode from our relaunch for Sisters Make Hijrah. Today, inshallah, we're going to speak about an issue which has been highly requested inside the comment section, which is sisters who are making Hijrah with children who are unmarried at the time. Today we have a guest, my co-host actually, is Sister Samar from Niqabi Diaries and Sister Mina from Educated Muslim Child. Sister Samar, if you want to introduce yourself for back to the audience, and if you would like to get into your Hijrah story, inshallah.
I'm in the U.S. I'm originally from Maryland. I moved to North Carolina February this year.
Oh, so you're still in the U.S.?
She's in America. Yeah, she's a person who's trying to, like make the transition and
curious about different places. Like Allah keeps bringing me, sending me people in different places or going to different places. So I'm like, okay, what else is out here?
Yeah.
My dad just moved to Nigeria, so that's
Oh, mashallah, fantastic.
yeah, mashallah, that's the thing. So it's like, what else? Really, what else is out there? In the U.S., in the United States, you really are kept ignorant about a lot of places unless you meet people who either live in those places or come from those places. Then you start to hear about what it's actually like there. Like I remember, a long time ago, like 10 to 15 years ago, one of my daughters made friends with someone online from South Africa, and they were sending her pictures of South Africa, and we were like, whoa. I didn't know South Africa looked like that. Like, that's not the view of South Africa we're given in the United States. Like, that was just crazy, And subhanAllah, even when she sends me pictures of Egypt, it's like, I didn't know Egypt looked that way. Like, some parts of Egypt literally look like you're right in the United States, minus all the people. All the people reminds me more of New York. But, like, where I am in North Carolina, it's people. But it's a lot of houses, it's a lot of green, depending on where you are. Yeah, and then when my father had moved to Nigeria, when he sent me pictures, I'm like, I never would have thought Africa would look like that. Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
There's buildings, and looks like downtown. It's beautiful. SubhanAllah. So I'm like, I'd really like to see what else is there in some place where we could feel more comfortable being Muslim.
Yeah, that was the main thing, because a lot of sisters, offline, in person, like in Egypt, I was telling Mina before, like there's a lot of sisters here who came to Egypt to live. They're not married. They came with children, lots of children, even brothers who had made Hijrah, without wives and with children. And it's very diverse, and there's so many people from everywhere. And actually, like I was telling her too, where I'm from, in the Midwest and in the States, there's a lot of, in our community, we had a lot of diversity. And before I came to Egypt, I did speak with Egyptians. I spoke with Jordanians, other Americans, like myself, other people who embraced Islam or who grew up Muslim from other Muslim countries, and they all were actually adamantly opposed to us coming to Egypt, subhanAllah. But we just, we wanted, everybody has their own intention. For me personally, I was like, I wanted to live in a Muslim world. I want to stay there, live there, raise my children there, and not ever go back. And Allah has allowed us to be able to do that.
So I have an interest in going overseas. I'm not sure if I actually want to go to live or if I just want to kind of jump around different places. But you said that you're in Ghana. So I would say that one of the things that I would be looking forward, because I do have children. I will be traveling with 4. I have 3 boys and a girl. I think one of the things I'll be looking at is like a safety issue. If my youngest son wanted to go to the masjid per se, or like how I would be able to get a Quran teacher for them, if I would have to find someone to come to me, or if there's like a process that you would go through to find a good Quran teacher. I know you were saying that Ghanaians aren't necessarily all that friendly. I find that to be interesting, but I don't know, because I don't think I've ever met anybody from Ghana before. I meet a lot of Nigerians, lots and lots of Nigerians. And then since I've been here in North Carolina, I've met a lot of Sudanese, and I find both of them to be friendly. But I don't think I've ever met anybody from Ghana before. I gotta really think about that.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned quite a few things there. Well, I will say meeting a Ghanaian that's not in Ghana, yeah, is different from meeting a Ghanaian when you're in Ghana. It's completely different experience. So Ghanaians, anytime I've met them, they're always very friendly, very, it's easy to get along with them. But I find when I've come to Ghana, the difference has been is like people are just not very forthcoming with information. You might ask somebody for help, and maybe they just don't want to help you. For example, they just don't want to help you, or you'll get the opposite where they want to help, but they don't really know what it is that you're asking, but they take you along for a ride basically. And another issue is like the people who act friendly with you, it's an act because they're not really trying to be a friend, they're just expecting money. So what I found, and there's a difference I've noticed, particularly with Muslims and non-Muslims. If it's a non-Muslim, and I'm generalizing here because this has just been my personal experience. If it's a non-Muslim and you need help or assistance with something, you always have to give them money. Okay, so the friendship comes at a cost. Whereas with the Muslims, I found that you don't usually have to give them anything. Like I've never dealt with a Muslim and it's been like, there's an expectancy that they're going to get money from me or something like that. Like, and even if you would because it's something that's encouraged here as well. So when I first came here, my mum and my sister, they used to go shopping they've got like this mall. And because I'm in Kumasi, so they've got this mall that they was going to, and in the mall, it's more like it's more like a Western style shopping mall, right? So they was going shopping in that mall because they're not, they wasn't blending with the locals very much, so they go shopping in the mall. And one of the Muslim brothers, he used to take them to this mall to do their shopping, and yes, they used to pay him because obviously it's like he used to take time from his job to go and do that for them, so that's fair enough, okay. But, because they kept relying on him and it's like he had to work around his work times and all that kind of thing. When I came, I like to be very independent. So I was like, well, they've got something called Bolt here, which is like the Uber. I don't know if they have Bolt in, where you guys are, but it's like Uber, right? So you've got Bolt, and I downloaded that app and I just decided if I need to do something, I'm just going to call a taxi because, I need to start getting around and not waiting for my Muslim neighbor to have time off of work or whatever. So the first time I did that, I was trying to get something which is called a Ghana card, which is like an ID card basically for everybody. So if you're Ghanaian, which I do have a Ghanaian passport, you get one as a Ghanaian, or when you're like coming as a foreigner, you also have to get a Ghana card. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're a Ghanaian or foreign, you just have to have this ID card basically. And it helps you to do things when you're like, maybe for example, they've got a weird system here as well, where if you buy a phone, like the chip, like, your phone number, your phone chip, it's like you're signing your life away. Like it's almost like getting a passport because they have to take your fingerprints, the whole 9 yards. It's ridiculous. They've done this thing where literally, I don't know. And it's funny because I've got this cousin in Barbados and she used to change number like every month. She used to say, I said, like, she wouldn't be able to live here because these people is like, every time you got a new phone, you have to go and it's like stamped with your whole, your handprint. They take a photo of your hand, they take your handprint, everything, right? So it's ridiculous. But anyhow, so you need your Ghana card in order to even just get a phone number, okay? Which obviously you will need a phone number if you're here because like they've got a system here as well which you use like mobile money. I think they've got similar in Egypt. So instead of using your card to pay like credit card, debit card, they don't use that over here. It's not a system that is like really accepted. It's cash or you've got the Momo. So the Momo is like a mobile wallet where you can put money on your phone. And, you can get cash out from it, or you can pay different services through it. You can pay bills with it, all that kind of thing. You can pay your shopping with it. So that's the kind of system that they've got here. Okay. So I wanted to get this mobile, my Ghana card done. So I called this taxi. And when I called the taxi, the guy came. And obviously when you book the Bolt here, it tells you the price that the actual fare is going to be for the distance that you're going. So when we got this taxi now, as soon as we got into the car, the taxi driver was basically trying to get us to give him more money than what the actual fare was before we'd even got to the destination. And what happens when, with any regular taxi, usually like when you're traveling, if for some reason like the travel takes longer because of traffic, whatever, that fare is going to be adjusted accordingly. So maybe it would increase anyways, or it would decrease. Anyhow, he was trying to get more money from us as soon as we got in the car because obviously he saw me, well, not me, but because I'm the one that blends in more, but my sister and my mum, who's fair skinned, and my and yeah, he basically could tell that we're not from here, basically. So he was trying to get more money out of us, which I didn't like. But anyways, so this guy, in the end, long story short, he became our regular cab driver, right? Our regular taxi driver. So anytime my mum and my sister wanted to go anywhere, or me or Fawn is going anywhere, we'd call him. Basically, he's like, he attached himself to our family because he was so friendly. Okay. But obviously he's getting benefit out of, us using his cab and things like that. So this is what happened. And there was a time when I was getting my marriage certificate here, an Islamic marriage certificate, because I was trying to get my husband to come from Egypt. I had went to one of the masjids here, and the Imam of the masjid, he happily did the marriage certificate for free. He said I asked him how much it cost, because when you get here, you get used to everything just costing something, even if there shouldn't be a cost, there's a cost, right? So I asked him how much, he said no, it's free. And anyway, so that cab driver, he pushed me, said, oh no, you have to give him something. And I said, okay, so what should I give him then? And he said, I'll give him like 50 cedis or something like that, right? So in the end, I gave the guy 50 cedis. I said, like, there's some, like, Fisabilillah or whatever in it. And, he said, Jazakallah khair or whatever and stuff like that. But I could tell that, like, he almost, like, he looked like he almost felt embarrassed that I gave him that money. And he wasn't expecting that I had given it to him. So that's a Muslim. But if it was a non-Muslim, it's like, that's what they expect. And another situation that happened with the visas, for example, like when my husband came here and he was trying to get his visa to stay, he was told by somebody who was also being friendly and trying to help him to get his visa, because obviously it's so complicated, which actually it isn't. They make out like the visa system is really complicated there, which is not. It's actually really easy. But when you go to the immigration, there's like always people hanging around who work there trying to like find out how they can assist you. They're not really trying to assist you. What they're trying to do is get in so that they can say that they're helping you, and in reality, like, put some money in their pocket. So what happened? We was dealing with a guy called SK, right? And my husband, when he came, he just wanted to get a visa that was going to be like, for a full year. The guy told him, oh, no, you can't do that. You have to get a 3-month visa first, right? And that would cost 600 cedis, right?
How much is that equivalent
I think 600 cedis. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. At that time, it was more than it is now. I think 600 cedis now might be maybe 30 English pounds. That might be about $24, something like that. Right? I'm sorry, I'm not good with currency conversion. It's not my subject. But yeah, I think it's about $24 at the moment, something like that, right? And at the time, it was more because of the conversion rate was a little bit. It's less than it is now. But anyways, so he told my husband that he couldn't get a year visa straight away. He had to apply for a 3-month visa first, and then after that he applied for the year visa. So this is the guy that works at the immigration, an official guy, and most of the people in the immigration, they wear like the army uniform as well, because some of them are like their army, right? Anyhow, so he was helping us to do my husband's visa. So my husband did the 3-month visa, give the guy 600 cedis. After that, he told him the year visa is going to cost him 1,200 cedis. Okay. And obviously that was him helping us. So when he helped us, he also expected us to give him some extra on top of that. So we ended up giving him 300 cedis extra, cost us 1,500 cedis. Okay. And then he went to the capital, because he said when you make your first application, 1-year application for a visa, you have to go to the city, like the capital, which is Accra. Okay. We're not in Accra. So you had to go to Accra to do it. So he said he personally went there to do it. And it was taking some time. And I was thinking, like, what's taking this guy so long? And it would be like maybe a month. And then when he got in contact with us, he's like, oh, yeah, the visa's ready. I just like, okay, then so when can we collect it? And he's like, oh, but I need some more money. And then I was just like, what do you need more money for? And he goes, oh, because, I had to do a lot of running around. And, it's taking me too long to get this visa. You don't know what I went through to get this visa. And then I said, okay, how much do you need then? He's like, oh, I need 500 cedis. And I said, look, I don't have 500 cedis because honestly, I didn't have it. Like, I'm not rich, right? And he's like, oh, but Samar, I'm broke. And I said, well, that's not my fault. I said, if you need money for the visa, if you've paid extra money because you need to get this visa, okay, that means that you didn't know what you're doing in the first place. And if you have spent the money for the visa, when you come and give me the visa in my hand, I will give you the money for it, right? So, and that's another issue here as well. When you're a woman, right, dealing with the man, they always try to rip you off. Always try to rip you off. Always try to take advantage of you. And they think you're stupid as well because you're a female. That's another thing. So that's something else they like. If they know they're trying to do something dodgy, they'd rather deal with a female. In general, like in life here in Ghana, like if you really want to get things done, you need to have a man with you because the men don't respect. And I say this like it's not that they don't respect women, but they don't respect women. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, they respect you in terms of how they communicate with you, talk to you nicely, all that kind of thing. They're never gonna, badmouth you in your face or something like that. But respect in a sense that if you say something, it's like they don't take you seriously. It's like they don't expect you really know what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? If you're having some work done in a house, for example, and you're getting some builders to come and do something, you say, "Oh, I need these bricks put over here, or I need this done X, Y, Z." They won't do it especially if it's not according to the way they normally do something. So especially if something that it's new for them, they're doing something different. They just won't listen to you. They will have to hear it from a man, in order to do it because they think that as a woman you don't know what you're talking about, and so they won't take you seriously. Okay, and I've seen that even when I was watching some of the YouTube videos. There was a woman from Cameroon. Her and her husband, they moved to Ghana and they was building a house here. And when they was doing the kitchen, she was telling them how she needed the kitchen sorted out, and they wouldn't listen to her. They literally wouldn't do any work until her husband came and told them exactly the same thing that she'd been telling them. And then the husband said to them, "Listen to my wife because it's her kitchen and she knows how she wants it." Until that happened, they wouldn't do any work. So that's the kind of mentality that they've got here. So I always say to people, like, literally, if you move to Ghana, like, it's really difficult to do things unless you have a man with you, like either your husband or, if you've got a brother or something like that.
But what are some tips that she would give for someone who's coming over there with my son right now? My oldest, he's 18. My other sons are 13 and will be 11 in December, inshallah. And my daughter is 16.
Coming back to what I was going to say to the sister, her eldest son, if she's got a son that's 18, and you wanted to move out here, he's got to step up his game. He literally really has to be the man of the house. And, obviously being his mum, that means inshallah you'd be able to use him to like get the things that you want, because people, as I said, they don't take women really seriously when it comes to like important or serious matters. So alhamdulillah, they've got a son that, inshallah, he'll be able to do that, so you'd be able to navigate like things, properly.
That was a lot of information she gave me, though.
Yeah.
I would not have expected that they would treat women so poorly. That's interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, as a Westerner, it's annoying. Basically, like, how can I say, like, it's really annoying, but that's just how that's how it is. And they're not going to be rude to you. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to be directly rude to you, but they literally just don't take you seriously. And it's something that maybe until you're in the situation, you wouldn't expect it, but that's how it is. And it's annoying, but yeah, it literally is like that. It literally is like that, and you can see it because it's what I suppose for me. It's one of the good things about here, and one of the bad things about here is that the society is segregated, men and women. It's not so obvious because obviously it's not completely a Muslim society. But as a Muslim, if you wanted to live here, like, and have your hijab and not being having to interact with men all the time, for example, it's easy to do that here. Because the men, they have that level of respect for a woman where they don't. As I think, even especially Muslims, where it's not like in the West, like they just kind of expect you to be like out of there, just in the front doing things. So like the men want to like, it's like they have this sense of like, oh, you're a woman, you need to be protected kind of thing. They have that a little bit.
To get your consultation from people on the ground in the Muslim world, go to consultation.makehijrah.com.
Clarify your intention and just, it's a lot of reliance upon Allah, a lot of patience with the trials that come with living in a foreign place, and I just want people to be prepared as much as they can, like before they come and they have the information at least, so they're not like, oh, nobody told us, And one of the videos we talked about being prepared or lack of being prepared, the unprepared video. And I just think sometimes you can be prepared, but you can also be like do too much planning. And at the same time, it's still different when you actually get there. It's different when you live in a place compared to, people telling you or, even showing you like videos and stuff, because you don't get dealing with the people and stuff. You don't really get that through the screen. Some certain things you don't get that through with like experiencing day-to-day life, especially as women. We're in the house more. We're dealing with our children. We're dealing with people, maybe our neighbors, like you said, the cab drivers, the immigration office, and it's just very different.
You can be in a difficult place, but the people that make the community is what makes it or breaks it for a person. Do you know what I mean? Because like obviously every country is different, the systems of a country is different, and you can adapt to new systems in a country and stuff like that. But when you got people who you kind of click with, you can get along with, that you feel that there's that sense of community. Do you know what I mean? It makes all the difference. That makes your adapting to that place a lot easier, because there's somebody that you just don't feel like an island by yourself. And to be honest, I think we're like with me and my husband here, I wouldn't say we feel like a complete island, but like almost.
And sometimes like I feel that I was telling the sister I can't relate as much to a lot of things because it has been a long time. I haven't been back, but of course my family is there, and I stay in touch with my community and my friends there, and people who have left the Muslim world and went back, and who are trying to also come back, because it's just like they feel that wherever is best for them, they're gonna try to go, and they just need the information. Like, okay, how is the place? And even like I was thinking about for your kids, Sister Samar, like I wonder if it would be different for them if they had other, I would say foreigners, but people like that they're like if their friends that they have in the UK lived where you are now, would they feel more comfortable being there, or it's just that?
Oh, definitely, I think it would be very different. Yeah, like now, alhamdulillah, we were living in the like above the masjid. So and the mashallah, as I said, the Muslims here are different, like apart from the non-Muslims. That's my experience. They're more helpful and stuff like that. But still, it's the culture is different here. So like, you might need to know certain things living in a building, for example. Yeah, there's certain information that's necessary for you to live in a building. Like if you move into an apartment block, yeah, and you need to know, for example, what days the rubbish taken out, or where can I, like here, they don't have, they're just starting this kind of rubbish disposal system. So there's some people are getting like those bins where you can fill it up and you have a trash day where the guy comes and collects the trash or whatever, right? That's just something new here as well. So you don't very often see that. So most of the time, the way the rubbish is gotten rid of is that people burn it. Okay, so that's the main way people get rid of rubbish. They burn it. So you get and that's one of the unsightly things about Ghana, is that it's just messy, like literally it's messy, because they throw it on the grass and then just burn it, or maybe they throw it in the front of the house and just burn it there. And obviously sometimes it doesn't burn all the way completely to ashes. So it's just instead of them get like a barrel or some kind of metal bin and burn the rubbish in there, so it's like kept in a confined space that keeps the place tidy. They don't do that. Like, so there's things that, as I said, there's certain things you'll be living in. As I said, you live in an apartment block. Information you want to know: when's the rubbish taken out, for example? How does the electric work? Is there all these kind of things that you want to know and live in a building? Which, when you move in a building, they should tell you. You shouldn't have to ask like those things. That should be something that a landlord will automatically tell you. But it doesn't work like that in Ghana.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't ask the question,
Yeah, you won't know. It's
you'll
just
never
like
get
this
to
in a
know.
lot of places. It's like that. I think I want to say the people I know live in different parts of Africa. It's just like a common thing,
To get your Hijrah related books, go to book.makehijrah.com.